Good morning and welcome to Jumpstart with Javon. I am Javon and we are reading personal development books aloud so that you could jumpstart your day. Thank you so much for being here. Before we get started into the book that we've been in all this week, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, I want to invite you to come and be a part of the No Excuse Today community, alrighty, where we are, tackling our goals, one goal at a time. If you need accountability, if you are just looking to get around like-minded people like myself, then I want to invite you to come and be a part of the No Excuse Today community. Visit noexcusetoday.com to get signed up. Let me tell you, I really wish I would have picked this book up earlier on in life, especially to kind of guide me through relationships. Now, I will advise any young person, specifically women, because this is an area, this third agreement that we're going to talk about today, this is an area where we make a lot of mistakes. And I wish that I knew about this book or the contents of this book, or somebody could have said something to me right in my teenage years, all the way through the age of 25. And so I'm going to encourage you, if you hear this and you know of a young person who may be, just now navigating new relationships, the third agreement is going to set them free. Alrighty. So without further ado, we're going to get right into the third agreement, and the excerpt that I'm going to read, you're going to see why I'm saying this. Okay. So the third agreement from this book is don't make assumptions. This is so good. Whenever we make assumptions, we're asking for problems. So it is always better to ask questions than to make an assumption, because assumptions set us up for suffering. And I say that because if I would have known about this earlier on in life, I probably would have made better decisions when it came to picking partners. Alrighty. But nevertheless, I have learned from those mistakes, but you don't have to make those same mistakes. You can just pick up this book and study this third agreement. Okay, so let's get right into it. The big mitote in the human mind creates a lot of chaos, which causes us to misinterpret everything and misunderstand everything. We only see what we want to see and hear what we want to hear. We don't perceive things as they are. We have the habit of dreaming with no basis in reality. We literally dream things up in our imagination. Because we don't understand something, we make an assumption about the meaning. And when the truth comes out, the bubble of our dream pops, and we find out it was not what we thought it was at all. Ain't that the truth? Okay, you probably sitting somewhere in a relationship right now. So I thought this person was this, and this. This is why you need this book. Okay, so an example: you're walking in the mall and you see a person you like, and that person turns to you and smile and then walks away. You can make a lot of assumptions just because of this one experience. With these assumptions, you can create a whole fantasy in your head. Okay, y'all know how we do. Women, I'm talking to the women now. Y'all know how we do. We see somebody and we be like, and then we just start future planning. Okay, y'all need this book. Okay, it'll set you free. Okay, so and with these assumptions, you create a whole fantasy just off of one look. Okay, and you really want to believe this fantasy and make it real. A whole dream begins to form just from your assumptions, and you believe, oh, this person really likes me. In your mind, a whole relationship begins from that. I tell you, somebody go get set free, okay, when they replay this back. In your mind, a whole relationship begins from that. Maybe you even get married in this fantasy land, but the fantasy is in your mind, in your personal dream. Making assumptions in our relationships is really asking for problems. Often we make the assumption that our partners know what we think and that we don't have to say what it is that we want. We assume that they are going to do what we want because they know us so well. And if they don't do what we assume they should do, we feel hurt and say things like, you should have known this. Well, no, they shouldn't have. Don't make assumptions. Another example, you decide to get married, okay? And you make the assumption that your partner sees marriage the same way that you do. Then you live together and you find out that this is not true. It's far from the truth, okay? And this creates a lot of conflict, but you still don't try to clarify your feelings about marriage. The husband comes home from work and the wife is mad and the husband does not know why. This is happening real time right now in somebody's household, okay? And maybe it's because the wife made an assumption without telling him what she wants. She makes an assumption that he knows her so well, that he knows what she wants, and as if he can read her mind. He cannot read your mind, sis, okay? You got to stop making assumptions, alrighty? She gets so upset because he fails to meet her expectations. Oh, this could be like, literally, this chapter could be a whole masterclass about relationships and making assumptions to help people stop making the same mistakes. Okay? When you make assumptions, you are setting yourself up for failure. Okay? Making assumptions in relationships leads to a lot of fights, a lot of difficulties, a lot of misunderstandings with people we supposedly love. All because we are assuming. We are assuming instead of asking the right questions. People are not mind readers. We like to think that they are. This is not the movies. This is real life. In any kind of relationship, we can make the assumption that others know what we think. And we don't have to say what we want. They are going to do what we want because they know us so well. We make that assumption. If they don't do what we want, what we assume they should do, we feel hurt and think, how could they do that to me? How could they do that to me? Okay? You should know. Again, we make the assumption that the other person knows what we want. A whole drama is created because we make this assumption and then we put more assumptions on top of it. It is very interesting how the human mind works. We have the need to justify everything, to explain and understand everything in order to feel safe. We have millions of questions that need answers because there are so many things that the reasoning mind cannot explain. It is not important if the answer is correct. Just the answer itself makes us feel safe. And this is why we make assumptions. If others tell us something, we make assumptions. And if they don't tell us something, we make assumptions to fulfill our need to know and to replace the need to communicate. Even if we hear something and we don't understand, we make assumptions about what it means and then believe the assumptions. I'm going to leave you with this. We make all sorts of assumptions because we do not have the courage to ask the right questions. Oh, was that good for you? It was good for me, okay? The reason why we make assumptions is because we do not ask the right question. We do not have the courage to ask the right questions. So I want to encourage you to muster up the courage. Especially, that I tell you, if you know anybody who's navigating a new relationship or thinking about getting into a relationship, maybe they're post-divorce, maybe they're like, I'm ready to get out there, they need to get this book and study this third agreement, okay? Because we don't want them to make any more mistakes in relationships. We do not want them to assume. We want them to ask the right questions. All righty? Okay, let me get out my soapbox. Thank you so much for being here. This has been Jumpstart with Javon. I have read an excerpt from The Four Agreements, and I'm going to encourage you to get this book, put it on your library shelves, actually read it, and then put it on your library shelves. Come back and reread it again, okay, so that you could grow as an individual. Come back tomorrow because we're going to finish up this book, and I cannot wait to see you there. Until then, my friend, no excuse day, and you have a flippin' phenomenal day.